Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Quantum Economics virtual panel, which is titled DeFi versus CeFi. Would everybody like to introduce themselves? Mati, would you like to start off?
My name is Mati Greenspan. I'm the founder of QuantumEconomics.io. We are a firm for research, analysis, advisory, and money management. Of course, joined today with, it's a pleasure to be on the same panel as you, Charles. It's my VP of content and number one person within quantum economics. Thanks a lot for having me.
My name is Josh Greenwald. I'm the Chief Risk Officer at Uphold, and I also head up our institutional business. Uphold is a platform for trading cryptocurrencies, metals, FX, really with the goal of allowing users to trade any asset to any asset. We've done, I think, 6 billion in volume since inception.
We can hear you, but we can't see your face. There we go.
There we go.
I'm David Markley. I'm the Director of Business Solutions at Algorand. Algorand is a brand new layer 1 blockchain protocol conceived by Silvio Micali. The project and protocol went live in June of 2019. Since then, we've worked with over 400 different organizations, including governments on their CBDC projects and bringing this infrastructure to fruition. Pleasure to be with everyone.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alex. I'm Vice President, Sales and Marketing at Ledger. And Ledger, we're technology providing, delivering security for crypto, for individuals and enterprise. We have Nano, which is 2 million devices across the globe. And we also deliver solutions for enterprise to secure their coins. And DeFi is definitely one of the key innovation topics we're working on.
My name is Charles Bovaird. I'm Vice President of Content at Quantum Economics, and I'm also a Forbes Senior Contributor. I've been published more than 500 times, and I've moderated and spoken on several panels. So let's see. All right, let's get right to it. Let's start off with central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, a hot topic that has been generating significant visibility over the last several months. So what do you think are the most compelling potential benefits of CBDCs?
So I wanted to, first of all, just start off by saying it's an honor to be on a panel with all you gentlemen. This is the first panel I've been on in a while where I actually know each of the companies quite well of the people that are representing us. So great stuff. To answer your question, Charles, CBDCs, I think, have a potential to completely revolutionize our entire economy. Basically, the implications are that people don't need to actually hold their money in a bank account anymore. People can really self-custody their own money. We can have transactions that happen digitally, peer-to-peer, just like they happen with cash now, without the need of a third party. It basically just eliminates the need for a bank for most people, and I think that benefits here should be obvious.
Fair enough. Would anybody else like to chime in?
Sure, Charles. I think that any CBDC that embraces the best of hard cash, permissionless, anonymous, fair asset of value is extraordinarily appealing. I think that given the relevant regulatory frameworks in play, that's perhaps not unlikely at the start, but I think any set of those things, or as many 2 out of 3 of those things, would be great.
Yeah, just want to emphasize what have been said. Probably what is important today, and at Ledger we've been partnering with Société Générale around the CBDC project in France. And I think also at European level, what we really see is that all those central banks try to understand the value for us of having that digital token. The reality today is that a euro, for instance, is not really my euro. It's kind of a bank currency for the commercial banks where at the end of the day, they're gonna update the ledger and seeing that the opportunity with those CBDC project is really to give back the true ownership of that euro to every single individual with that token. And actually, it's moving towards our vision of becoming your own bank, if you could say so.
And to build on that concept, I really view it as an evolution. And so we talk about the disintermediation or potentially the removal of needing a bank to custody your own funds altogether. I tend to think of it as an evolution, as Alexandre just started to outline, where the near-term benefit to certainly emerging countries and developing nations is that the cost of cash starts to approach zero. So when the platform and the infrastructure provide double spending prevention as a service, and that comes out of the box, when transactions can be truly atomic and you can immediately settle your trades, and oh, by the way, settlements available to everyone 24/7, 365, that really starts to change the role. But I think the near-term benefit is it reduces the overhead associated with managing capital. As an example, as we've done work with the Marshall Islands, the way that they actually distribute funds and distribute their working capital to their citizens is by putting it on a boat in a vault and then driving it from island to island, handing it out, distributing it to the local banks themselves, and then ultimately passing that on to their end users or the residents. With a CBDC, specifically one that's blockchain based, and you can layer on the programmability of that asset, that distribution can be done with the right processes in place with the click of a button. And so now your balance is updated, the aid distribution programs happen almost simultaneously. And so the cost of cash starts to drive towards zero. And ultimately that'll encourage more innovation. It'll unlock more ability to innovate and change the way that our fundamental relationship with banks. They can shift from providing robust, secure infrastructure and start to focus more on other products and services that can be layered on top of the cash system.
What do you think the implications will be if CBDCs become the norm and enjoy, how should I put this, widespread implementation?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
As a crypto native platform, I think we'll see lots of benefits. I think we'll see easier and offboarding of customers. We'll see perhaps lighter lifts on things like AML and KYC, because maybe perhaps some of that weight will be carried by the nature of the token. And this should translate into greater participation in crypto markets, heightened participation and ownership of digital assets. So those are the good things that would come from CBDCs being the norm.
And just to build on that, Josh, I don't think it's just greater participation in crypto markets. I think it's greater participation in the financial market as a whole, right? To your point, we're reducing the barriers to entry. The infrastructure itself will do a lot of the heavy lifting. And I know we've mentioned that banks will be disintermediated, but I actually think they'll just re-envision what their core product offerings are. It's not going to be secure. In some cases, maybe it is secure for larger reserves, but for the everyday consumer, it's going to be more focused on upselling them into other products and services, other investment vehicles, other types of assets that they can now get exposure to. And at the end of the day, I think the consumer ends up winning in that world when you have much more open competition around what products people can natively gain access to.
Yeah, and I think David, you mentioned something that I'd like to dig in, because that's what we do. But if it becomes a norm, I think it will change also the way individuals and companies, let's say, consider security. Because I think today, one of the key things also when I say security is not just the technology, but that's with the way, with the money you have today. I would say that you rely on what your bank is doing in terms of security. You don't really think you have your Visa card. If you lose it, you see, it's kind of, we put the people in a situation where security is something hidden that you don't really care about. You may have an idea, but that's not really something that you care about. And then with that acceleration of digital currency, I would say it's also a good way to come back to a reality where security is, for every single individual, a key subject that you should matter. And it's not just something for someone else. And I think we live in a digital world, and we continue to digitalize more and more things. And what we could notice in our past few years, if you think about all those issues with the data, the control, that's also because we didn't train and teach enough people of being in control of what they own in terms of currency and in terms of money. Because again, we try to simplify. So the thing is, we need to always do a good mix between the user experience and security, in the sense that you need to simplify things. But I think the good positive things for me is like security comes back at the heart of the key topics on the market. And security is also not legal aspects, KYC, AML. It's also security in terms of tax management, because we don't want to create a wild way. It's also how can you secure, preserve the funds for my country, for my regions. And last but not least, security in terms of, let's say, cross borders, etc. Because, you know, we live in a world where we come back to kind of silo, but the reality is that we're an international, we like to trade across different countries. And I think that's digital type of CBDC projects will be also a good opportunity to simplify all those cross-border type of transactions in terms of a secure way.
I hosted a panel at LA Blockchain Summit last week, which the entire subject of the panel was just for people trying to identify the risks of DeFi. I think we basically classified it in three different categories, which are operational, market, and credit risks. And I mean, the DeFi world has oodles of all three, and each one branches out into many different categories. So yeah, the risks are hefty, but I think that everybody who's really in the industry and anybody who's really touching these smart contracts is kind of understanding that this is play money and you don't invest more than, and you can see it right off the bat. I mean, people are piling money onto untested and unaudited smart contracts. The only reasonable explanations for this is that they don't really care if they win or lose. They're just playing around with it. So at this point, the risks are, I mean, the actual risks are actually minimal because people know that cardinal rule that you don't invest more than you can afford to lose. So, you know, the worst thing that can really happen is that, you know, it doesn't work out.
If I may add something, another reason that they could be piling this money on is overly, how should I put this, overly optimistic expectations. I mean, obviously that sort of thing did exist in the space at some points. I mean, the amount of sentiment we had surrounding the digital currency markets in say 2017 and also the beginning of 2018, I mean, it was significant. I'll put it that way.
Yes, but I think that we've come a long way since then. And I think that most of the people that are in the industry now are the same people that already learned those lessons in 2017 and 2018. And the industry has far matured beyond that. I mean, I don't see very many people, as far as I see, that are, you know, blindly going in without any understanding of the risks and piling in huge amounts of money without knowing what they're doing. Even just to get into these things, you have to at least, it requires some background in industry knowledge. We're not to the point where it's so user friendly that grandma can access it for retirement funds. It really is money that's already in crypto for the most part. And then and we're seeing also better risk disclaimers, I think. I mean, even some of the products, you'll go there and it says, the smart contract is unaudited, and, you know, check out in here's the risks.
I think that was very interesting, our topics today, because on one hand, we've been talking about a very old traditional central bank topic, and then we shift to a very innovative new topic, which is DeFi. And I think that was very interesting because this is our journey. And that's the best example to demonstrate that what we try to do is to bring together two different worlds, because today you have literally two worlds, parallel worlds. I mean, the crypto one with the $350 billion valuation today, and then the traditional financial world. And that's where at that journey, at that stage where it's very interesting to see that everybody is waking up on one hand and the other hand and say, how can we all come together to transform that very complex and as I mentioned, that's because it's at the heart of the economy of every single country, you know. So it's not a matter just of a technology. It's a matter of bringing together governments, economical people, banks, financial worlds, technology actors. So I think it's very exciting to be part of that journey. And I think what we just said today is like innovation brings great opportunities to transform what we're doing today. And I really think that our role is to continue to do such panels and discussions to make sure that we bring more and more people around that table to make sure that we make things happening, because we are all convinced that innovation will bring added value for our world.
Alexandre, I swear you sit in the internal Algorand meetings. That's exactly our worldview. Is that's the journey we're on? Is bringing together this legacy institutional infrastructure, CBDC, these entities that have pedigree around governance, economic stability, controls, and marrying that with this decentralized infrastructure. That doesn't mean it needs to be decentralized and completely trustless. So there's a lot of education that we're doing in the space around how we can bring those two together. And as we start to see more of these CBDC initiatives take shape, I think that'll only be the springboard for them to tap into the decentralized world that we're also helping curate and build.
I'd like to thank everybody for taking part in this panel. And I'd like to thank everybody who chimed in and watched the recording for this panel. And I think that's pretty much it for the day. So thank you very much, everybody.